Okay, I want to go through the basics of command control and first and third person shooting. And I'm doing this on the training ground, which you should be familiar with from the first part of the game. The first mission on the game is the training mission. Obviously, you know, the manuals for these kind of games aren't great, and Osprey is a complicated game, but let's go through the basics. So here we've got a troop of 4 soldiers. If we highlight them, we get a single squad icon above them, which is a MG34. And you'll notice that one of them has a thicker band around his base. We've got all 4 are activated as a squad, 3 single circles and 1 wider double circle. That's important because if I click on this guy, so he's got the white bar underneath him, when I click on him and I tell him to do something, if I say move down here, the other guys will follow. And if I just click on him and I say run over there, the other guys will go with him as well. He's the squad leader and they will follow and basically take up position around him. So again, we move here and the squad takes this form. If I want to organize that squad, I lasso the whole squad and then I right click and hold my mouse and I can drag it out, and you see these circles that we can rotate. This tells you where they will form up, and so I've got the right mouse button held down. I'm rotating and drawing it out, the circles. When I release, they'll take up that position. And if I want them to come tighter, and do that again, rotate, and they'll take up that position. That's the basics of control. They will follow individuals. If I want to shift from that to giving individual orders, I can just say pick on this guy here. We've now got 2 icons. We've got a squad icon of the other 3 and this guy on his own. I'm going to say to this guy on your own, just walk to there, and the others don't follow him. If I then highlight the other 3, this guy's still the squad leader, and if I highlight him, the other 2 will move with him, or they'll move back here with him. Notice how the guy on the right there hasn't moved because he's no longer part of the squad. So we'll get these guys to line up, and if I want to join him back in the squad, I just grab all of them and a single icon appears above the whole group, that LMG, and we can spread them out and they will form together as a squad. That's the basis of squad control. You can move them like that while they're in a squad. The control key and they will go prone, the alt key and they will kneel, and alt key again and they will stand, and they will go from stand to prone with control. They go to kneel with alt and they stand up with alt, and if you want just to kneel you just alt, and then if you want to go prone, control. So that's the basis of control and movement of your squad. And if they're prone, we hit control, they drop. If they're dropped and we hit control and they can come up. Pretty good, pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Okay, so we've looked at movement and position and how we move soldiers around. So let's pick up this guy here and move him over here. Now, what about weapon firing? How do we look at weapon firing? Well, it's about taking control. So in this mode, he can lie down with his MG34. Over on the right hand side here, we have these 3 buttons here. This is firing mode. So fire at will. Most of the time when we're in game, we're using firing will. It means if they see enemies, they'll engage them. If we have people on scouting missions, we want to go to firing mode, hold fire. This means they will not fire against units automatically. It's particularly good if you're crawling through some woods, crawling through some trees, if you're on a scouting mission, if you're trying to spot where the enemy is. Don't fire and give your position. Or the variation of that one is called firing mode return fire, which means you won't fire, you're in hold fire, but if you are fired at, you will return fire. And so we can change those, but most of the time in game with most of our squads we're at fire at will. Let's get this guy to stand up again. Now, what about shifting from what we call third person? We're on mouse control, so I click on the guy and he moves to where I pop the mouse, or the squad where we lasso the squad and the whole squad moves to that position like that. Or if we right click and hold and draw a series of circles, the squad will move to that location in time. So that's we're familiar with that. We've done movement. Let's do firing. So we now go on an individual level basis, on an individual soldier, from third person to first. I'm going to click on this guy here and I'm going to hit the E key. Now we've hit the E key, we're in first person mode, and we can roll our mouse forward and roll our mouse back and increase our view of that. We've now got a targeting sight in front of us, as you can see, and we can go and we can actually, and we will shoot bullets within that circle, belt-fed rounds. And we can rotate and we can zoom in and we'll fire a burst of bullets within that range. We can also, while we're in direct control, which is E key, we can do T for targeting. When we do T for targeting, we get this mobile target that our soldier will fire on, and he will follow as we move it around with the mouse like this and rotate, and he will fire at that point. It's a way of keeping almost a third person view, but first person control. So you can see him, and in this position he also moves with WSAD, so we can move him forward while he's firing in that way. To get out of targeting mode, we hit E and we're back into first person again, where we can zoom in and zoom out just like that, and we move around using WSAD. If we want to get out into target mode, we hit T, and we're then in targeting mode like that, and he will follow around the target and fire. Get out of that with a T and get out of that with an E, and we're now back into squad mode. He's part of a squad again. This is particularly important with some weapons. One of the guys here, not you, this one, got a sniper rifle. Okay, so let's switch to the sniper rifle. So he's got his sniper rifle up now, and if we pick on this guy and we go E and we zoom all the way in, we get the sniper rifle. And this also works for tanks and vehicles with kind of ranged weapons. So we can snipe like this. So I won't shoot one of the guys in the head, but let's pick that box there, and we can fire a sniper rifle. We can still do T with that and follow the targeting mode around. Tells us the range and tells us the accuracy when the two correspond. There's a little lag between the two, so we can fire a bullet over there. But if we go out of targeting mode, we're back into first person mode and we're scanning around, and that's how that works. We go from E, we roll our mouse back, get a tree in the way, roll our mouse back. We can go to targeting mode and we have a mobile target to fire at. We get out of that with a T, and then we're back into first person mode and we hit E and we're back into squad mode. And we now can move around with the rest of the squad and reload. And that applies for all weapons. So this guy's got his MP38. So we hit E and we're in first person mode. And we can fire. We can roll back on that, we hit T. He's got a reload because we used all of his ammo. And now we're in targeting mode, and there's a slight lag between where the target leads and where it catches up. When the two coincide, then that's where we're firing. To get out of targeting mode, you take T. To get back out of first person mode, you hit E. And there we are, back in squad mode, and he will operate either on his own like that, or if we lasso the whole of that squad, he'll rejoin the squad and they'll form up as we want them to. Pretty straightforward, eh? So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and bye for now.